You smile, you show up, you keep going, but deep inside, you're exhausted. If you're fighting battles no one knows about, this message is not random. It found you for a reason. Some of the strongest people are not the loudest in the room. They are not the ones constantly talking about their pain or seeking attention for what they endure. Instead, they are the ones who wake up every day, carry their responsibilities, and keep moving forward while fighting battles no one sees. Silent struggle is often misunderstood as weakness, but in reality, it is usually a sign of deep strength. People who struggle in silence are often the ones others depend on. They are the providers, the caregivers, the encouragers, the problem solvers. They feel a responsibility to stay composed, to protect others from worry, and to hold everything together. Because of this, they learn to bury their pain beneath a calm exterior. They smile not because everything is fine, but because they believe others need them to be fine. This kind of strength is exhausting. Carrying pain quietly requires constant emotional control. It means swallowing words that want to be spoken, tears that want to fall, and questions that demand answers. Over time, the weight grows heavier, not because the person is weak, but because no one was meant to carry so much alone. Silent strength is not the absence of pain. It is the decision to keep going despite it. Often, those who struggle in silence learned early that expressing pain was unsafe or unhelpful. Maybe they were ignored when they spoke up, criticized for being emotional, or forced to grow up too fast. So they adapted. They became self-reliant. They learned to solve their own problems and suppress their emotions. What once was a survival skill slowly became a prison. There is also a deep sense of dignity in silent struggle. Many people do not want pity. They do not want to burden others with their problems. They believe that staying quiet is noble, mature, or faithful. But while dignity is valuable, silence can sometimes mask a fear of vulnerability. The fear is not that others will see weakness, but that they will not understand the depth of the pain. Strength has many forms, and endurance is one of the most powerful. Continuing when you feel empty, showing up when you feel broken, and choosing hope when despair feels easier. These are not small acts. They are signs of remarkable inner resilience. But even the strongest foundations need support, or cracks will eventually form. Silent strugglers are often the last to ask for help. They convince themselves that they can handle just a little more. One more day. One more challenge. One more disappointment. But strength is not proven by how much pain you can tolerate. True strength is knowing when to stop carrying the weight alone. If you recognize yourself here, understand this clearly: your silence does not make you superior, and speaking does not make you weak. You do not lose strength by admitting you are tired. You do not lose respect by acknowledging that you need support. Strength was never meant to isolate you. It was meant to sustain you. The strongest people are not those who never struggle. They are those who struggle and still choose life, growth, and honesty. And sometimes, the bravest thing a silent warrior can do is finally let someone hear what they have been carrying. Invisible pain is still pain. Just because your struggle does not show on your face, your body, or your circumstances does not mean it lacks weight. Emotional wounds, mental exhaustion, and spiritual fatigue often hurt more than physical injuries because they go unseen and untreated. When pain is invisible, it is easy for others, and even yourself, to minimize it. Many people suffer quietly because their lives look fine from the outside. They have a job, a family, responsibilities, or stability. Because of this, they feel guilty for hurting. They tell themselves they have no right to feel overwhelmed. But pain does not ask permission before it enters your life. It does not measure your success before it settles in your heart. When pain goes unseen, it often goes unvalidated. And when pain is not validated, it begins to feel unreal, as if you are imagining it or exaggerating it. This leads to self-doubt. You start questioning your own emotions. You wonder why you can't just be grateful or be stronger. This internal conflict adds another layer of suffering. Unseen pain has a unique loneliness. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone. You can laugh in public and cry in private. You can be admired for your strength while secretly feeling like you are falling apart. This disconnect between who you are perceived to be and how you actually feel creates deep emotional isolation. One of the most dangerous lies unseen pain tells is that if no one notices, then it must not matter. But pain does not need witnesses to be real. Your tears count even if no one sees them. Your prayers matter even if they are whispered in the dark. Your exhaustion is valid even if you still manage to function. Ignoring unseen pain does not make it disappear. It only forces it to find other ways to express itself, through anxiety, anger, numbness, or burnout. What is not acknowledged eventually demands attention. Healing begins not when others recognize your pain, but when you allow yourself to recognize it. There is also courage in admitting that what you are carrying hurts. You do not need dramatic words or a public confession. Even a quiet acknowledgement, "This is heavy for me," is a powerful step toward healing. Pain loses some of its power the moment it is named. You are not weak for feeling what you feel. You are human. Your inner world matters just as much as your outer responsibilities. Your emotional health is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Pretending you are okay when you are not may keep things running for a while, but it will eventually cost you peace. Your pain does not need to be compared, justified, or proven. It simply needs to be honored. What you are experiencing is real, even if no one else sees it yet. And when the time comes that you choose to speak, you deserve to be heard. Not because your pain is visible, but because you are valuable. Unseen pain does not mean unseen purpose. Even in moments where you feel overlooked, your struggle is shaping depth, empathy, and wisdom within you. And one day, what no one noticed will become the very thing that allows you to understand and uplift others. Your pain is real. Your experience matters. And silence does not cancel the truth of what you are going through. Silence often begins as a form of protection. It feels safer to keep things to yourself than to risk misunderstanding, judgment, or disappointment. Many people choose silence because past experiences taught them that opening up led to pain. Words were ignored, feelings were minimized, or vulnerability was used against them. So silence became a shield. At first, that shield works. It helps you function. It allows you to stay composed, productive, and in control. You avoid uncomfortable conversations and protect your image of strength. You convince yourself that staying quiet is maturity, patience, or faith. And for a time, silence does help you survive. But survival is not the same as healing. Over time, unspoken pain does not fade, it accumulates. Each swallowed emotion adds weight. Each unexpressed thought becomes another layer of pressure. What you don't release begins to live inside you, shaping your thoughts, moods, and reactions. The silence that once protected you slowly turns into a prison. When pain has no outlet, it often turns inward. It shows up as anxiety that has no clear cause, irritability that feels out of character, or exhaustion that rest doesn't fix. You may feel numb, disconnected, or unusually overwhelmed by small things. These are not signs of weakness. They are signals that something inside you needs to be acknowledged. Silence also distorts reality. When you don't speak your truth, you start believing that no one would care if you did. You assume others wouldn't understand, or worse, that they would judge you. Over time, this belief becomes a barrier between you and meaningful connection. You feel alone not because people aren't around, but because the real you is hidden. Another danger of long-term silence is that it teaches you to abandon yourself. You become skilled at meeting everyone else's needs while ignoring your own. You listen, support, and show up for others, yet never allow yourself the same compassion. This imbalance drains your emotional reserves and leaves you feeling invisible. Breaking silence does not mean exposing everything to everyone. It means allowing honesty to exist somewhere in your life. Healing rarely begins with a speech, it begins with a sentence, a quiet admission, a moment of truth. Even acknowledging your pain to yourself is a step out of isolation. Silence loses its power the moment you choose honesty over fear. Speaking does not make your pain bigger, it makes it lighter. It allows others to see you, not as weak, but as human. And often, you'll discover that the understanding you feared was missing has been waiting all along. Silence may have helped you survive a difficult season, but you were not meant to live there. Protection that lasts too long becomes limitation. You deserve more than just coping. You deserve healing, connection, and peace. And sometimes the bravest step forward is simply choosing not to carry it alone anymore. When life feels heavy and progress seems slow, it is easy to believe you are falling behind. You look around and see others moving forward, advancing in careers, relationships, finances, or confidence, while you feel stuck, delayed, or exhausted. But delay does not mean denial, and struggle does not mean failure. Preparation often feels like pressure. Growth rarely announces itself with comfort. Instead, it stretches you, challenges you, and forces you to confront parts of yourself you would rather avoid. What feels like stagnation is often internal development taking place beneath the surface. Much of the most important work in life happens invisibly. Character is formed in quiet moments. Resilience is built through repeated endurance. Wisdom is shaped by disappointment, waiting, and unanswered questions. These things cannot be rushed, and they cannot be skipped. When you are being prepared, life may strip away what you once relied on. Confidence may be shaken. Certainty may disappear. Familiar support may feel distant. This is not punishment. It is refinement. Preparation removes what is temporary so that what is essential can be strengthened. Feeling behind often comes from comparison. You measure your journey against someone else's timeline and conclude that something is wrong with you. But no two paths are the same. What others did quickly, you may be doing deeply. What looks like delay may actually be precision. Preparation also teaches dependence and humility. It reminds you that strength alone is not enough. You learn patience when you want speed. You learn trust when you want control. These lessons are uncomfortable, but they are necessary for what lies ahead. Many people want the outcome without the process. They want the success without the struggle, the reward without the waiting. But unprepared success collapses under pressure. What you are walking through now is equipping you to sustain what you will receive later. If you could skip this season, you might, but you would arrive unready. The pressure you feel is shaping capacity. The resistance you face is building endurance. The uncertainty you endure is sharpening discernment. None of this is wasted. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not failing. You are being prepared in ways you cannot yet see. One day, you will look back and realize that this difficult season did not delay your life. It strengthened it. What feels like a setback is often alignment. What feels like loss is often clearing space, and what feels like silence is often instruction being formed within you. Stay patient. Stay honest. Stay open. You are not falling behind. You are becoming ready. Many people live under the false assumption that rest is a sign of weakness. In a world that glorifies constant productivity, hustle, and endurance, taking a pause can feel like failure. Yet, the truth is far different. Rest is not weakness. It is survival wisdom and preparation for what lies ahead. To truly thrive, you must understand that pausing is a strategic and necessary act, not a concession. When you are struggling, it is natural to push yourself harder, thinking that more effort will solve the problem faster. You keep going, ignore fatigue, and convince yourself that surrendering to rest would be dangerous. But the human body and mind are not designed for continuous strain. Ignoring the need to recharge does not prove strength, it accelerates breakdown. Survival, in its most practical sense, requires listening to your own limits. Rest allows you to recover your strength so you can continue forward with clarity and focus. Rest also restores perspective. When you are tired, overwhelmed, or emotionally depleted, your ability to make sound decisions diminishes. You become reactive, anxious, or trapped in negative thought cycles. Taking intentional pauses, whether through sleep, quiet reflection, meditation, or simply stepping away from stressors, gives your mind the chance to reset. It creates space for clarity, insight, and emotional regulation, which ultimately improves your ability to navigate challenges. Importantly, rest is also an act of self-respect. Many people confuse self-sacrifice with virtue, believing they must endure everything for the sake of others or their goals. While responsibility is admirable, neglecting yourself diminishes your capacity to serve effectively. Rest is not selfish, it is self-preserving. By honoring your own needs, you ensure that you can show up for others with authenticity, patience, and energy. Rest is often a form of wisdom that comes with experience. Those who learn when to pause recognize the subtle signals of burnout before it becomes catastrophic. They understand that strength is not measured by the duration of unbroken effort, but by the ability to recover and maintain sustainable momentum. Temporary withdrawal, reflection, or self-care is an investment in long-term resilience. Sometimes rest feels uncomfortable. It can bring up feelings of guilt, shame, or anxiety. You may worry that stepping back means losing control, falling behind, or disappointing others, but refusing rest only prolongs exhaustion and weakens performance. Pausing is not quitting, it is recalibrating. It is acknowledging your limits and respecting the natural rhythm of life, which includes periods of exertion and periods of recovery. Spiritual and emotional rest are equally important. Even if physical energy is abundant, the mind and spirit need breaks. Time spent in reflection, prayer, or solitude replenishes inner resources that are invisible but vital. These moments allow you to process challenges, realign with your values, and strengthen your emotional resilience. Without them, you risk being productive in form, but empty in substance. Learning to rest requires intentionality. It means identifying the activities, thoughts, and environments that rejuvenate you and making them non-negotiable. It could be a daily quiet moment, a walk in nature, journaling, or time spent in meaningful connection. Rest is most effective when it is purposeful, not accidental, and when it addresses the specific areas where you are depleted. Ultimately, rest is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It allows you to survive, heal, and prepare for the challenges ahead. The strongest individuals are not those who push endlessly, but those who recognize the value of stepping back, recalibrating, and returning with renewed energy and wisdom. By embracing rest, you honor both yourself and the process of growth, ensuring that when you move forward again, you do so with strength, focus, and resilience. One of the most persistent misconceptions in life is that asking for help is a weakness. Many people struggle silently because they believe that seeking support makes them inferior, incapable, or burdensome. The reality is the exact opposite. Asking for help is a sign of maturity, wisdom, and growth. Recognizing your limits and reaching out for assistance reflects courage and self-awareness, not deficiency. The truth is, no one succeeds entirely alone. Human beings are designed for interdependence. Growth, healing, and achievement often require collaboration, guidance, and shared effort. Refusing help under the guise of independence can slow progress, increase stress, and intensify isolation. Asking for support is an acknowledgement that you value your own well-being and understand the power of community. Asking for help requires humility, which is often misunderstood in our achievement-driven culture. Humility is not weakness. It is the recognition that your life, your work, and your struggles are not meant to be carried entirely in isolation. Humility allows you to admit what you cannot do alone, opening doors to resources, perspectives, and encouragement that would otherwise remain inaccessible. Many people fear that asking for help will result in rejection, judgment, or pity. These fears are real but often exaggerated. People are more willing to assist than we assume, and vulnerability often inspires connection rather than weakness. Reaching out creates space for meaningful relationships, trust, and mutual support, which are essential for long-term resilience. Another reason asking for help is growth is that it requires clarity about your own needs. To request support effectively, you must identify what is challenging, what resources could assist, and what outcomes you hope to achieve. This process fosters self-awareness, reflection, and problem-solving skills, all indicators of personal development. Help comes in many forms. It may be emotional support from a friend, professional guidance from a counselor, mentorship from someone experienced, or practical assistance in tasks you cannot manage alone. The key is recognizing when a challenge exceeds your current capacity and acting rather than pretending you can do everything by yourself. Refusing help often stems from pride, fear, or a desire for control, yet insisting on carrying everything alone can lead to burnout, discouragement, and stagnation. Ironically, seeking assistance often increases your effectiveness, productivity, and resilience because it provides the tools, insight, and energy needed to face challenges more effectively. It is also important to recognize that asking for help is not a one-time event. Life's seasons change, and the support you needed yesterday may differ from what you need today. Growth involves recognizing when new skills, guidance, or encouragement are necessary and having the courage to pursue them without hesitation. Ultimately, asking for help reflects strength and wisdom. It demonstrates that you understand the realities of human limitation, the importance of community, and the value of collaboration. Seeking support is a proactive step toward solving challenges, nurturing your well-being, and ensuring that your journey is sustainable and fulfilling. Growth is not measured by how much you can endure alone, but by how effectively you navigate life with the support, wisdom, and resources available to you. By asking for help, you acknowledge your humanity, accelerate your progress, and strengthen both yourself and those around you. When you are in the middle of pain, it often feels meaningless. You wonder why you had to go through this, why it couldn't have been easier, and why the burden feels heavier than it should. In moments like these, it is natural to assume that suffering is wasted time. But struggle, especially the kind endured quietly, is never wasted. It is doing work in you that comfort never could. Pain creates depth. It changes the way you see the world, people, and yourself. Before struggle, life may have felt simple and straightforward. After struggle, You see layers. You understand that people are carrying stories you cannot see. You become slower to judge, quicker to listen, and more compassionate in your responses. That depth is forged only through experience. What you are enduring is shaping your inner strength. Not the loud, showy kind of strength, but the quiet kind that stays steady under pressure. The kind that knows how to keep going even when motivation is gone. This strength cannot be taught. It must be lived. Every challenge you face is increasing your capacity to handle more without losing yourself. Struggle also refines your values. It shows you what truly matters and what does not. Things you once chased may lose their appeal. Things you once ignored, peace, honesty, meaningful connection, become priceless. Pain strips life down to essentials and forces clarity. That clarity becomes a guide for the rest of your journey. Often, the depth created by struggle becomes a gift to others. You may not see it now, but one day your understanding will meet someone else's pain. You will know what to say, or when to stay silent. You will know how to sit with someone without trying to fix them. Your empathy will feel genuine because it was earned. Many people try to escape pain as quickly as possible, but unprocessed struggle tends to repeat itself. When you allow pain to shape you instead of hardening you, it transforms into wisdom. Wisdom is simply pain that has been understood and integrated. That wisdom becomes part of who you are. Your struggle is not evidence that something has gone wrong. It is evidence that something important is being formed. The patience you are learning, the resilience you are building, the emotional awareness you are developing, these are all results of what you are going through now. Even the parts of your struggle that feel unnecessary will one day make sense. You may not get a full explanation, but you will gain perspective. You will realize that what felt like breaking was actually reshaping. What felt like loss was actually preparation for greater purpose. Nothing you have endured is meaningless. Not the tears, not the waiting, not the confusion. Every part of it is contributing to a deeper, stronger version of you. Your struggle is not wasted. It is building something within you that will last. When pain lingers, it can convince you that it is permanent. You wake up tired, go to bed tired, and repeat the same cycle day after day. Slowly, hope feels distant. You start to believe that this heaviness is just who you are now. But seasons by nature do not last forever. Change is inevitable, even when it feels impossible. What makes difficult seasons so heavy is not just the pain, but the uncertainty. You don't know when things will improve. You don't know how the breakthrough will come. And that not knowing can be more exhausting than the struggle itself. But uncertainty does not mean hopelessness. It simply means the ending has not revealed itself yet. No season lasts forever, not the painful ones and not the joyful ones. Life moves in cycles. Growth follows hardship. Relief follows pressure. Even when change comes slowly, it is still coming. The fact that you are still standing is proof that this season has not defeated you. It is important to remember that who you are in pain is not the final version of you. You are responding to pressure, exhaustion, and emotional weight. When those conditions change, so will you. Do not define yourself by how you feel in survival mode. Often, the end of a season begins quietly. Not with a dramatic shift, but with small changes, clearer thoughts, lighter moments, renewed strength. Healing rarely arrives all at once. It unfolds gradually, almost unnoticed, until one day you realize you are no longer where you once were. Holding on during a hard season does not mean forcing positivity. It means allowing yourself to feel while still choosing to move forward. It means trusting that your current state is temporary, even when you don't feel strong. Endurance is not about feeling hopeful all the time. It is about continuing despite uncertainty. There will come a day when you look back on this season with new eyes. What once felt unbearable will feel survivable. What once felt endless will have an ending. And you will realize that you are stronger, wiser, and more grounded because you kept going. This season is shaping you, not defining you. It is passing through your life, not settling there permanently. Even if progress feels slow, it is still progress. Even if light feels distant, it is still real. You will not remain this way forever. What you are experiencing now is a chapter, not the whole story. Keep moving, even if it's one small step at a time. The season will change. And when it does, you will see that you were growing even when it felt like nothing was happening.